What really happened before Jungkook's departure to America? Why did Taehyung almost leave BTS right at the time Jungkook committed the most reckless act of his entire career? Is this the end of BTS as we know it? When one crazy step was taken to save someone who was on the verge of giving up, the entire ARMY world fell silent. A moment that was never recorded on camera, but shook the hearts of all the members. What is really at stake when an idol stands on stage and smiles? Maybe we think everything that seems is real. But what if the smile is just a thin curtain that hides turmoil? What really happened behind the scenes before Jungkook left Korea for America? Why did it suddenly come out that Taehyung almost quit BTS?
Done?
Is Jungkook's crazy act his last attempt to save BTS? We never know when a family is about to collapse. We see only the final result: grandiose concerts, glamorous interviews, footage full of laughter. But that night, just hours before Jungkook boarded a plane to Los Angeles, a quiet conversation ensued.
No camera.
No manager.
Just the two of them.
Jungkook and Taehyung. And one sentence that came out of Taehyung's mouth that instantly made Jungkook's world stop spinning. "I'm not sure I can continue here. Kook." That sentence, which was never spoken before, which was never leaked to the media, became the trigger of the most emotional act Jungkook had ever committed. He canceled all his appointments that night. He turned off his phone. He left the hostel without permission. And he brought something with him that shocked Taehyung to the point of speechlessness. What did Jungkook bring that night? An old photograph. Not just a photo. It was the first photo of the five of them when they debuted, worn out, full of small scribbles and signatures of each member. But behind the photo, there was Jungkook's handwritten letter. A letter that he kept secretly for many years. The letter he wrote when BTS almost broke up for the first time in his trainee days. "Maybe I'm not the best, but as long as you're still here, Hyung, I will never give up." Taehyung read the sentence in silence. Her lips trembled, and tears fell. This is not a scenario. Not for content. It's real. And this destroys the feelings of anyone who knows about it. ARMY, if you knew that Jungkook's departure to America was not just about international collaboration, but about rescuing someone who is close to surrendering, would you still be able to sleep tonight? The reality is, before that departure, Taehyung was at his lowest point. The pressure of agency, the feeling of being accidentally ostracized, the endless rumors, and the loneliness that can't be explained in words. Many thought that Taehyung was out of focus. But who knew that that evening he actually prepared a message of resignation? Jungkook knows. Because he's the only one who can read the tiny changes in Taehyung's eyes. They may often seem joking and distant these days, but that doesn't mean they don't care. Precisely because they care, they move away from each other. Because closeness can be painful if it is not taken care of, and that's the reason Jungkook took the reckless step. He goes to Taehyung's private studio. Without permission, without an appointment. He opened the door and saw Taehyung sitting on the floor, holding a letter. His face was blank. His hands were shaking. Jungkook didn't say a word. He just sat next to her and handed her the photo. Silence.
Old.
Very long. Taehyung said, "You are crazy, but that's not the point." A few minutes later, Taehyung hugged Jungkook. For the first time in years, not as a member, not as a stage friend, but as a brother. And that night, the decision changed. Taehyung cancels all his resignation plans. ARMY doesn't know this. HYBE may not even know in detail. But for sure, Jungkook's departure to America is not just a promotion. It's a symbol. He left after making sure that all his brothers remained in place. And with that departure, he brought peace. He brought strength. He brought a story that probably would never have appeared on any camera. But the question now is, why did Taehyung almost quit BTS? Is there an internal pressure that has been hidden all this time? Are there any conflicts that have not been heard by the public ear? Or is this the beginning of something bigger? Something that has been held for a long time and can no longer be buried deeply. A few days before the incident, there was a strange incident. Taehyung walked out early from the recording session without explanation. In the studio, he left his sketchbook, which he used to carry everywhere. When Jungkook opened it, he saw a series of pictures depicting a bird flying away from a cage labeled BTS. Is that a clue? Is Taehyung giving a signal? Or is it just a tired soul? One thing is certain. Jungkook is not standing still. It's not just singing. It doesn't just show up. It takes care.
And it acts.
An act that made all the army who now knew this story could only be silent, staggered, and cried in their hearts when a magne becomes a protector, when friendship is tested to the last limit, when parting is almost a reality, and only one crazy step saved him. What would happen if Jungkook didn't come? What would happen if the letter was never given? Will BTS still be BTS? Will Taehyung stay in the spotlight? And even more suffocating, if this happened once, can it happen again? Jungkook's one sentence that night became a mantra that still resonates. As long as we take care of each other, we will never be lost. Army, now you know. Not everything that is crazy is wrong. Sometimes it is precisely the courage that is considered crazy that saves everything, and this is the reality that has been hidden for so long. A reality that shakes. The truth will always be a witness. BTS is not just a music group. They are the quietest stories of love, sacrifice, and courage that have never been published. Are you ready to hear more of this unwritten truth? Or are you more comfortable in a lie that looks perfect? If there really is nothing wrong, then why do so many things feel unusual? Why did only the two of them seem to lose the public communication signal? And why from all the BTS documentation so far, it was Taehyung and Jungkook's togetherness that began to be slowly deleted, as if time wanted to erode what used to be so meaningful to fans. Some observers of Korean pop culture even started talking about the possibility of an internal conflict of interest involving the two. One of the boldest speculations came from a former documentary editor for the variety show HYB, who anonymously suggested that career differences and pressure from major sponsors may be the root cause. In a message posted mysteriously on a closed platform, he wrote, "They never want to leave, but the system forced them." What is meant by system? Did he mean the HYB management structure? Or even a structure of public pressure that leaves no room for the human feelings of an idol? Further, the army began to trace its digital footprint, and the results were electrifying. An old 2017 video showing Jungkook and Taehyung together during Spring Day training, which once had more than 12 million viewers on the official channel, is now suddenly inaccessible from some countries. Some fans who saved it also said that their version could not be played. Is it just a technical error? Or is there a hidden hand trying to erase the traces of their closeness? Another surprising fact emerged from the outtake of a photo shoot of the last album before the draft. In one of the frames that didn't make it into the final version of the photo book, Jungkook is seen tucking a small Polaroid photo into Taehyung's jacket pocket. But in the final version released to the public, the photo was edited so that it was not clearly visible. Army Digital Forensics found that the Polaroid contained an old photograph of the two of them, taken long before their debut. If this is not emotionally meaningful, then what is? But the mystery doesn't stop there. During their last promo period before the military hiatus, Jungkook once did a sudden live broadcast from a hotel room at night. In the broadcast, which only lasted 8 minutes, he looked nervous, spoke slowly, and several times could be heard holding his breath as if he was holding back tears. In the 5th minute, while reading a comment from a fan that read, "We miss Taehyung so much," his expression changed. He paused for a moment before saying, "I do too, but sometimes missing someone doesn't change anything." The sentence immediately went viral. But strangely, the replay of the live was never re-released by HYB. Even re-uploaded footage made by the army also often experiences copyright strikes.
Why?
Since when is HYB so strict against videos that don't even contain music or paid content? Some suspected that the live broadcast was not part of a promotional plan, and HYB considered it an emotional leak that could harm the company's image. But what kind of image is HYB afraid of? The image that two BTS members have a deep emotional connection? Isn't that what makes them loved? This question continues to loom large, especially after the public caught a very noticeable change in Taehyung. In the past, he was the most expressive idol and dared to display his closeness with Jungkook. But now, every time Jungkook's name is mentioned, his gaze changes. Not cynical. It's like holding something heavy. Some ARMY describe it as storing a storm in the chest. There's a video from a group interview that shows Taehyung laughing softly when asked who the members would most like to have a heart-to-heart talk with after the military. As all turned to him, he replied with a startling sentence. "Too late, isn't it?" That sentence instantly made the atmosphere quiet, and even Suga looked down. Jin, who is usually quick to break but the surprises have not stopped. On one of the K-media forums known to be close to the entertainment industry, an insider with anonymous credentials mentioned an astonishing fact. A secret reunion between Jungkook and Taehyung was once planned behind closed doors, just days before Jungkook left to meet his family. The meeting had even been scheduled at a private villa outside Seoul, with a mediator in attendance, allegedly not HYB staff, but a figure referred to as their old friend from the trainee days. But to make all this even more mysterious, the meeting was abruptly cancelled just 2 hours before the planned time. There is no official reason. Just a short internal email from one of the production directors reads, "The decision has been taken. Please cancel. We don't want to risk the media today."
Risk? Media?
Why should the meeting of two best friends be avoided like that? What made ARMY shiver the most was the fact that after that cancellation, Taehyung disappeared from the public schedule for a full 48 hours. No Weverse activity, no Instagram stories, and not even any involvement in the daily choreography practice schedule. Some of the ARMY who monitored HYB's official calendar noticed this gaffe and started digging, but all of their inquiries ended with their accounts blocked or their posts deleted. HYB covering up something deeper. Is there a possibility that the emotional breakup between Jungkook and Taehyung happened due to third-party intervention? Meanwhile, Jungkook was seen returning to his family home in Busan in an emotional state that worried many fans. In a video recorded remotely by a neighbor who knew John's family, Jungkook can be seen getting out of the black car with heavy steps, his head bowed, and his eyes reddened as if he had burst into tears. Shortly after entering the house, the mother was seen hugging him for a long time at the door. But what makes it all the more heartbreaking is the fact that Jungkook didn't bring his phone in. He gave it to his manager before entering the house. Are you trying to escape the digital world? Or is he rejecting calls he doesn't want to hear? On the other hand, Taehyung appears in a radio recording with a flat tone of voice and minimal expression. When asked about future collaboration plans, he simply said, "I don't know if time will allow it." The sentence immediately became the subject of discussion everywhere. Time? That is it about a relationship with someone? Or with himself? A few weeks later, a clip of the rehearsal that was filmed by a fan site from a distance reappeared, showing Taehyung staring at an empty spot next to him during Spring Day rehearsals. Usually the position is filled by Jungkook. But that time, Taehyung didn't look at anyone. He looked at the empty chair and smiled lightly with a blank look. Is the chair just a symbol? Or is his heart calling for someone he can no longer reach? News of Jungkook's secret song draft also began to strengthen. One of the composers involved in Jungkook's solo projects mentioned anonymously that he was asked to compose a very personal song, but it was never released. The song is said to have a provisional title, "One Step Away," with lyrics allegedly written by Jungkook himself. "I saw you from across the dream / but the bridge was gone / and I kept calling / but the wind stole my voice." The lyrics too specific, too emotional. And it's too heartbreaking if it's true that the song was written with a certain person in Jungkook's mind. Is this about Taehyung? Meanwhile, fans continue to find pieces of clue in Taehyung's posts. He posted a picture of the sky with a caption, "Today I can't sleep and I can't talk." There is no context, no explanation. But the post only lasted 2 hours before it was deleted. And uniquely, at the same time, Jungkook posted a song from his playlist, Coldplay's Fix You. The song was also removed in a short time. Coincidence? Or are they talking to each other in code? What goes on behind the scenes of HYB will never really be revealed, unless someone dares to speak up. But from all the clues that are coming to light, from internal documents to behavior changes, to moments cut from documentaries, to emotional clues in music and social media, it's all starting to form an alarming pattern. That something big is being hidden. And the question now is no longer, is HYB hiding something, but what are they hiding? And why are they desperately keeping this secret? Is this about a personal quarrel? Is it about agency pressure? Or is it about the truth that is too painful for the public to accept? To be sure, Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship is no longer what it used to be.